daily reading vlog. So I've done a few weekly ones and they make me much more productive, but it's Friday so it's too late to start one and I need a video to go up tomorrow, so we're doing a daily one. And to be fair, I do have a lot of reading to be doing. I am really behind on my hours TBR because I have started it because one of the books I picked was for uni and for the owls. So I have started it, but I haven't read any of the other books for it, and you know, time is ticking on. There's also another book that I forgot that I had to read for uni, and that is Bridget Jones's Diary, so I've had to get that on my Kindle. Whack out the old Kindle, I haven't used that in years because it didn't used to work in my old accommodation because of something to the internet, I don't know. But I've had to get that out, so I need to read that as well. Term starts on Tuesday. Well, term starts on Tuesday, obviously it's not like face-to-face term, so I will still be at home. Yeah, it's all a bit weird, So the books I have to read today are, I have to finish Saga. So this is an Icelandic saga. It was originally written in Old Norse and it's quite simplistic. They were not fans of description, and you know, they are tell it how they see it kind of people. So it's quite hard to kind of read very quickly because all the lines are like really short and simple, and it just feels very kind of segmented. The only thing that's really getting me through is the nicknames. They have some wacky nicknames, some of my favourites. Let me see if I can find them for you. Kettle Flatnose, there we go, that's a good one. Oh, Ragnar Shaggy Breeches, I love that one. Okay, so my camera got out there, so off to a great start. It ran out of battery, so I've just charged it and I've just been sitting in the garden reading for a bit because it's a lovely day out there, and I think I'm going to do that pretty much for the rest of the day. So as I was saying, I'm currently reading Saga, which is an Icelandic saga written originally in Old Norse, so it's got very simplistic language, and that was just the vibe they used to go for. So it's got no kind of description, so it's got no prose really, it's all just like a statement. So it's very like, he went there, he did this, he did that, this happened, then they went here. So it's very kind of rigid and quite hard to kind of easily get into. So I have been struggling. I've been reading it for about 10 days now. I started it on the 1st and it's currently the 10th today. So it's going slowly, but I need to finish it because I need to start writing my essay on it because that's due next week, which is in 3 days. So that has to be finished today. And then I didn't realise, but I also had to read Bridget Jones for my lecture or class that's starting next week as well. So we got to start reading that as well today. I think I've read like the first like 2 pages. I'm struggling to read that as well because I've seen the film so many times that I kind of know what's happening and I kind of just can't be bothered to read it at this point. We will have to read that because I didn't know that was a thing until now. And it's only short and it's really easy to read, like it's super contemporary, easy thing. So that'll be fun. And then I'm also thinking I might listen on audiobook to Mansfield Park, which is this bad boy here, and that is by Jane Austen, if you didn't know, and it is on my TBR for my Owl Readathon, and I did find an audiobook on Scribd, but I think I cancelled my Scribd account, so that might be finishing like in a day. So we might have to actually read it this time. So yeah, I might as well start that on audiobook and see if I can. I'm quite excited actually to get into it, so that'll be exciting. So that's my plan for the day. I'm also going to do some exercise because I've been struggling to sleep at night, so I feel like I really need to tire myself out because all I've been doing is sitting around doing nothing all day, every day in this lockdown. So that's the plan. Apart from that, I'm just going to go sit in the garden and sunbathe. So I shall come back and update you in a bit on how Saga going, because hopefully I'll finish it. I've got about 60 or so pages left and it's currently taking me about an hour to read 30 pages roughly, if I don't like dilly-dally or lose focus or go on my phone or anything like that. So hopefully I shall get it finished in the next few hours. So I shall update you soon. Sorry about my face, it's so red. I did exercise and it was literally like half an hour ago and I showered and everything and had a super cold shower, but still my face is red, which I think shows the extent of what it was before. It was quite disgusting and this is the result. So apologies for that, just pretend that I am the perfect smooth skin of a golden goddess and we'll all be fine. But I did, before I did my exercise, finish Saga. So I sat in the garden, it was lovely, it was nice and warm, and I just sat and I read all 60 pages of it in one go, which I'm impressed myself with. I was struggling to do that this whole time. I think the most I've ever read of it is 25 pages in one go. So yeah, you know what? The books like this aren't really talked about on BookTube a lot, mainly because they're quite a niche market. I don't think there's many people I've met, apart from 1 or 2 people in my class and my lecturer, who absolutely adores Old Norse and Icelandic sagas. So it's definitely more of a scholarly, probably, thing for people to talk about. But if you are at all interested in law and kind of the findings of law in this country, or I suppose Iceland, but it also does bleed into Ireland and Scotland, so if you're at all interested in that, this is quite interesting. And some of the ways of their lives are just like, I can't believe people actually live like that. So the main kind of theme throughout this is just a to and froing of Icelandic law, basically, of murder. So in Iceland, in whenever this was based, so it was written in the 1300s or the late 1200s, and it's based obviously a lot earlier than that, a couple of hundred years before that I think. Those people at that time weren't, the country hadn't been Christianised yet, so they were pagans, I think is the religion that they were. Oh no, not pagans, that was England, I don't know. They still believed in like Thor. They did have a legal system in place, and that legal system was that if you murdered someone for whatever reason, you could pay compensation for that to whoever the next of kin was, and it would all be like fine. It was settlement, it was fine, that was totally legal to do. Obviously that never really kind of worked, and people would then just go back and forth killing each other, paying a settlement, and then going and killing each other again. There was one example, sorry if you can hear my neighbour rattling around. I'll close the window. My window doesn't actually close very well, so sorry if you can still hear it, but we're moving on. So there was one kind of section in this where 2 wives of these men didn't get on. They, I don't know, said something that offended the other one or whatever, and as revenge they sent someone to kill their slave, and then the kind of men got together and were like, oh, silly women, they should have done that, I'll pay you 100 whatever pounds to compensate your dead slave. And they were like, oh thank you, we're still friends, good good. But then the wife didn't agree with that settlement, so then she sent someone back to kill their slave, and then that went back and forth about 5 or 6 times until suddenly it was just settled. So there's a lot of that kind of thing going on, which is very strange. It's quite funny, it's like repetitive, I have to say. Definitely don't go into this thinking it's going to be like a nice YA fantasy novel, because it's definitely not. But it is definitely interesting if you're into that kind of thing and finding out that kind of information. It's based on real life, like it's based on true stories, but obviously there are elements of fiction, so you're kind of told to think of it as some elements of real life, some elements of complete made up fiction. Like there are prophecies and stuff like that, a lot of that's heavy, so it is a work of fiction, but the characters in it are real people that did live, supposedly, a lot of them, because a lot of them do cross over into other sagas and stuff like that. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I'm just worried that I don't have anything to talk about in my essay, and I have to do an essay on it because it's the only book I've read for that course. That's a lie. It's the only book that I've read that I have here with me for that course. All the rest are in York. So we have a troublesome time ahead, but we'll power through and we'll do it. So yeah, I had to read this for next week anyway, because that is what the book that we're discussing for next week. So fun times. Moving on, it's like 5 o'clock now, so it is a lot later than I last saw you, so I've kind of failed on the daily vlogging aspect of this. It'll be an evening vlog, shall we say. I think I'm going to get started on reading Bridget Jones and try and power through a good chunk of that, and then I think in the evening I'm going to do a bit more writing, because I started writing a book which is for kind of loosely for Camp NaNoWriMo that's happening this month. Camp NaNoWriMo is a lot less rigid as a whole anyway than the NaNoWriMo that happens in October, I think it is, or November, October, I don't know. That happens later on in the year anyway. So you don't have a set, you set your own word count, you set your own project, like it can be poetry, play, whatever you want to do. So my goal is just to write 30,000 words, so 1,000 words a day. I'm currently on 11,000 words and it's the 10th of the month, so even if I didn't write anything today I'd still be ahead of time. But I'm trying to kind of cushion, or create a cushion anyway, for when I have to write that essay, and then hopefully later on, like next month and stuff, I'll still be ahead of schedule for when loads of my essays, exams and that kind of projects and all those things for the end of term are due in. So that's the goal. I've planned a schedule out so that hopefully I'll finish it, or written 100,000 words roughly, by mid-June. So that's exciting. That'll be the most I've ever written of a book. I think that my highest count is 50,000 words, which I did for NaNoWriMo, and then I stopped because I didn't like the storyline, but I had to keep going because I'm competitive and I had to win NaNoWriMo. I am totally rambling now, so we are going to get into reading Bridget Jones's diary, and I shall see you with an update on how it's going. And I didn't manage to get my update in before it went horrible lighting, so sorry about that. But I just thought I'd come on here because I only read like 10% of Bridget Jones's diary, so I'm not that far into it at all. But there are a few things that are kind of just bothering me and like niggling me. One, I think, is the format. I'm not used to it. So it is written in a diary form, and the language itself is like her own kind of quick hand thoughts. Like she does use abbreviations like V for like very and stuff like that. So that I find quite difficult to read anyway, because obviously it's very hard to do that kind of book because everyone thinks in a different way, everyone writes in a different way in their diary or whatever they would use. So trying to get into that character's voice is difficult, and obviously she crosses over speaking in a diary form with kind of prose as she discusses what happened, and that I think, I don't know, I'm not biggest fan of that kind of way of laying out the book, and I'm struggling to kind of get into it, even though it does make it quite easy to read. It's quite skimmable. But another thing that is kind of annoying me is that, and I know this was written in like a long time ago, let me see when this was written. I don't know when this was written, but I'm pretty sure it was written in the early 2000s, so I know they had like slightly less concern over things like this, like body image and things like that. But it constantly, like every single chapter, opens up with her kind of New Year's resolution goals and how they're going. So she wanted to lose weight, stop smoking and stop drinking as much, and then each chapter opens with what her weight is, how many cigarettes she smoked, how much alcohol she's drunk, and how many calories she's consumed. So I don't know if the author knew or like did much research. It feels like she didn't do much research into how much calories you're meant to consume per day, how many calories are healthy, and actually how much weight is actually large, because I'm assuming if she wants to lose weight she is an unhealthy weight, otherwise that's a bad image to put across. And it says she's 9 stone, 9 stone 4 I think is the heaviest she's got at the moment. So take this entry for example, it says she's 9 stone 2, alcohol units 4, cigarettes 29, calories 770. Very good, but at what price? So I haven't read this chapter yet, so I don't know what the price is that she's talking about, but 770 calories is less than half of what she should be eating per day to even lose weight. Like, that's a ridiculously low amount to be eating, and I don't think anyone should be eating 770 calories a day, even if you are trying to lose weight quickly, which is not sustainable anyway, but that's a whole other problem. and 9 stone 2, that is less than 60 kilograms, and that's normally how I weigh in kilograms, so that's a lot less than what I weigh. So like she doesn't, like that's not big. She'd have to be less than 5 foot tall for that to be counted as overweight on a BMI. I looked it up. So that doesn't give a good impression. Like if I was younger and I was reading this and I read that she was 9 stone and thought that she was ugly and overweight and having a unattractiveness crisis, as I am quoting, because of her weight, etc., I would feel really bad because I was over 9 stone and I was eating a heck of a lot more than 770 calories. So, like, I know it was written a long time ago, so maybe they didn't have that kind of awareness, or I think in recent years people have become a lot more active about kind of not putting those images in books and stuff like that, so that could be one of that kind of side effects, I suppose, of it being an older book. And it really bugged me, because I think if I was younger and I didn't kind of know as much as I do about kind of calorie consumption and weight and what your weight is made up of, for example, like muscle mass, then that would play a lot into my mind, especially because it's such a popular book, and I would have thought it was, I don't know, accepted because everyone loves the book, etc. I mean, I'm only 10% in, but that is a main focus of the plot at the moment, is that she feels like she's unattractive because of her weight. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but it just bothered me a little bit because 9 stone's not heavy. So yeah, that's some of the problems I'm having at the moment with it. But I suppose, like, if you think about the films and stuff and how Renee, she had to put on weight in order to play the character of Bridget Jones, and even then she wasn't big in the film, but it then kind of spiralled a whole struggle of weight for her, I think. I haven't looked into that properly, so don't quote me on that at all. But I just think, I don't know, it's a risky business trying to focus weight as a problem within a book, and if I handled wrong, I think it can be a touchy subject, and I don't think it was done very well so far in this book, because 9 stone is not overweight, so it's not a problem. Like, I get, I don't know, I don't want to be offensive at all or anything like this, but I think the only reason that people in books should be described as being overweight and then wanting to lose their weight is for a health orientated reason. So they should be wanting to be a healthy weight because it is healthy, not because it is socially deemed more attractive or anything like that. I think that generally in life is that people should be striving to be the healthiest person that they could be, and that means mentally as well. So the way that it is presented in this book doesn't seem to be that main orientation. It just seems to be a lot more based on attractiveness and that kind of thing, and I don't think starving yourself on 700 calories is the way to go about it. You should be doing things to be actively healthy and eat the food that you like to eat. I feel like I'm being offensive, but I'm trying not to be. So yeah, I just think it's done really badly, and it would make me feel funny if I didn't know that it was wrong, if that makes sense. That's kind of all I have to say. I feel like I've offended people. Hopefully I haven't offended anyone. Yeah, I'm gonna stop now because I feel like I'm just making it worse. But yeah, main point is that I think it gives a negative image of weight loss in this at the moment. It might change, but I don't know. I still feel like it's a touchy subject to have in a book, and it's very hard to handle with care. It doesn't promote a healthy appetite, but I suppose that is the whole point of Bridget Jones at the start. Like, she is a little bit of a mess with her life, so maybe it does play into the character, but I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking now because I feel like I'm going blabbing like crazy. So I think I'm gonna stop there because I did try and do some writing, but it wasn't working today, so I don't think I'm going to do any more. I think I wrote a paragraph and then that was it. So I think I'm just going to chill, lounge around, prepare the mind for the essay writing that will commence tomorrow, and just have a nice evening. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope I haven't offended anyone. I hope it was okay. And I'll see you in my next video.